Michael B. Jordan stars in a new film that's titled Sinners. Now, this film was created by a man named Ryan Coogler, who also happens to be the same man that created the films Creed and Black Panther and many other films. Many people are running to the movie theaters to watch this movie from two African Americans that created a great movie that entails the lives of our ancestors and culture with a hint of horror. But what if I told you that there's a more deeper, darker, sinister reality to this movie that may shock you? I want to show you guys this. Let's go ahead and hop into this video, watch it, and react to it. Before we do me a quick favor. Hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm so that this video can reach more people like yourself. I truly appreciate you guys, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and tap that subscribe button, and let's hop into this video right now. Okay, so this is Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan on The View, and they're going to be asking him questions about the creation of this storyline. And he's going to talk about how he dives into a little bit of African ancestry and blues, and he brings up his uncle and how his uncle passed away, and his uncle was a big inspiration to this movie. This is very light, but by the end of the video, it's going to get much, much more deeper. Okay, so let's check this out.
Smoke and Stack, that's their names. Now, how did that come about? And why this story?
Oh man, I mean, I think Cool could probably answer that one a little bit better. Like, you know, why this one? Yeah, I was done making the last Black Panther. It took a long time. And I wanted to make something a little more personal, something original. And I've been listening to a lot of blues records, and chiefly because I was missing my uncle James, who was born and raised in Mississippi, but then moved to Oakland in his 20s. And he was the elder statesman of our family. Yeah. You know, whenever I would spend time with him, he would just want to play old blues, vinyl records. He'd drink Old Taylor whiskey and tell me about Mississippi. Nice. And he passed away when we were finishing up Creed in 2015. So I would oftentimes play records to kind of conjure his spirit, to feel like I was hanging out with him again. And the idea for this film came to me. You know, I always loved genre films as well. I hadn't had a chance to make one yet, a horror movie. So I kind of combined those two ideas. And the movie feels like a blues song. The twins are named after the Smokestack Lightning, famous Howlin' Wolf song. Yeah. And a lot of characters are you're pulling from African-American mythology.
Now, right here, Ryan Coogler is going to tell a story about how Michael B. Jordan dived into his character role a little too soon and a little too far, and how this drastically scared the costume designer and sent cold chills down the spine of Ryan Coogler. Let's check this out real quick.
And I'll never forget, bro, like day zero when we were shooting, he came to set our smoke, and Ruth Carter, who's a legendary costumer, of course, she came up to me and I could tell she was like a little bit flustered. You know what I'm saying? She was like, hey, I got these, she's like, I got this jewelry, I got different, like kind of getting their costumes together, and she was saying like, you got to look at it and tell me what you want him to have. I put both things on him, and she kind of was like, I could tell she kind of had a, so Mike walked up, and I've been knowing Mike a long time, bro. You know what I mean? Like we homies, you feel me? And some of all this energy just made my blood run cold. You know what I mean? So I asked him the question that she wanted. It was like something about a bracelet, if he wanted a bracelet or something or not. And I said, hey, bro, do you want the bracelet on this arm for Smoke or this arm? And he said, I'm indifferent. But he said it in like this deep Southern accent, you know what I'm saying? And I looked at him and I was like, oh shit. He completely ain't like, he's completely somebody else, you know what I'm saying? And he had like a 1,000-yard stare, you feel me? And I was like, oh man, we gotta get to work. I put him right in the car and started shooting. I don't even know if I took the bracelet off or not, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Now, we all know that actors take their roles very seriously, almost to the point where they start to become the person that they're trying to portray. But I will admit that kind of spooked me out when he said Michael B. Jordan kind of would not snap out of this role and sent chills down his spine, the person that created this movie. And I don't want to make any assumptions, but that does sound similar to Possession. Ryan Coogler is about to elaborate on how blues music and African ancestry helped inspire him to create this movie, and how all of this ties into one oddly profound person in the past that made a deal with the devil. Let's check it out.
Music, because Ryan, come on, like that scene where, you can just see the flow between the blues and all the different kinds of music. Why was it important for you to reflect that even as we wrap up this interview?
That's a great question. Through the supernatural element of the movie, the movie had to be shown like with this framing of the concept of eternity. That's a concept that vampires are associated with, but it's also a concept that it's very unnatural for one group of people to dominate another group of people, right? But a part of
the pattern when you see that and you study that is the attempt to break those people off from the context of what's happened before and what's coming after. You know, to break the language, to break any ancestral theology, to break the ritual practices. And that was happening in 1932 with these specific people, you know, at an extremely conscious and effective rate. So the movie had to be in conversation with the practices that break through that. You know, music, ritual gatherings, food, like all of these things.
Those elements.
Love.
You see echoes of where these people are actually from, and where they're going. You know, so the film had to have that element, just as much as it had to have all the blood and guts and, and jump scares. It needed that too, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is where things are about to get really dark and really sinister. Ryan Coogler is about to elaborate on how blues music helped him get through a time when his uncle passed away, and the eerie situation between the blues music that he listened to and a guy named Robert Johnson who made a deal with the devil. Let's check this out real quick.
But I you know, I had a lot of love for my uncle, man, and he passed away in 2015 when I was doing post production on Creed, and when I got the news that he died, I was in a post production facility in Los Angeles. I felt so far and disconnected from home that it really kind of broke me, you know. So I never really reckoned with you know, missing him properly. You know, went back home for the funeral, but I would often find myself putting on those old blues records to remind myself of him, and it would almost be like I was conjuring him. Like if I listened to it long enough and closed my eyes, I could feel him like kind of listening along with me, maybe telling me a story again. You know, so when I got this idea to make this movie, I wanted to dive into like what Mississippi was, what that Delta blues music was, what was it about that region, and when I investigated it, you know, that this time, you know, like the late 20s, early 30s was really like that time when it really took off, you know, the blues as we know it, and a lot of mythology, a lot of spirituality, you know, a lot of the supernatural vibe is right there in the music. Yeah. A lot of these musicians had songs about being haunted by the devil and being chased by their worst nightmares and trying to escape certain things, both natural and supernatural. One of the more famous tales is the tale of Robert Johnson, who went to the crossroads and
Hellbound, right?
Well, he had a song called Hellhounds on My Trail. Yeah, and he had Me and the Devil Blues is the famous one. Yeah. You know, but the legend had it that he went to the crossroads. He wasn't that good of a guitar player. Went to the crossroads one night, and you know, in Western concepts, I said the devil came to him and tuned his guitar for him for the price of his soul, and he came back playing better than anybody had ever heard. As I researched, I learned that it wasn't necessarily the devil, but it was a figure named Papa Legba, you know, who was a African deity. And you know, once I unlocked that, it became fascinating for me, and I learned that this contribution, man, like the Delta Blues, is really like America's greatest contribution to global popular culture. You know, and at that time, in that place, it was very hard to be black and be seen as a human being. You know, and through that affirmation, they gave the world a gift that you know continues to give, and it gives internationally. So with that, I kind of was like, man, I gotta make this movie big, man. That's why we shot it on IMAX cameras. I got the biggest movie stars I could find, you know, the best young talent to play Preacher Boy. Leveraged all my personal relationships that I had amassed over the years, relationships like with Mike, relationship like with my wife, Ryan Coogler, who's a producer, and Ludwig Göransson, who's our composer. He got his wife into it. You know, we laid it all on the line for the movie to kind of deliver this story in the biggest, boldest way possible, and really like in the most cinematic way possible, because we're trying to get folks in the theaters to watch this, you know?
Like I said earlier in the video, I don't have anything against them particularly. I think that they are actually pretty good people from what we see. But if we are talking about a Christian perspective, I think that we need to understand that there are some things that we want to be a little bit wary about, and we want to kind of have some discernment and judgment against. And I think that it's up to your own personal convictions if you want to watch this movie or not. But before you make that decision, I want you to see this part of the movie about Robert Johnson, the man who played blues and who had apparently made a deal with the devil. Let's check this out.
Johnson would ask if he could play their guitars. In one of the most famous interviews ever given about Robert Johnson, Son House states that he was terrible and that he was often asked to stop playing.
He'd follow me and Willie around on Saturday night, Willie Brown. And every time we stop for rest and sit there, little guitar over in the corner or something and go out to catch air, you know, get the guitar and be trying to play it and be just noising the people, you know. And the folks would come out and say, why don't y'all, some of y'all go in there and make that boy put that thing down, he's running us crazy.
The story goes that Robert Johnson went to a local crossroads with his guitar before midnight. He started playing his songs, and at midnight, the devil appeared. The devil took the guitar and tuned it, played a song, and gave it back to Johnson. This was the transaction, the turning point for Johnson as a musician. He had given up his soul to the devil himself and was a master of guitar. But with this, his soul was doomed to hell, and an untimely demise was in his future. The reason people believe that this is what happened is because of a man named Liddell Johnson, who in 1971 said that this was the way to sell your soul, and that his brother Tommy had actually done this. There was no relation between Tommy and Robert, but that didn't stop people from taking this tale and attaching it to Robert's name. At least that's how the story goes. It's obviously a far-fetched tale, but it shows us how impressive and quick Johnson's improvement must have been. The only way the public were able to justify his talents was with a story that was this insane, which in itself tells us why Robert Johnson was so good. One thing is almost certain. Between the years of 1930 and 1932, something happened that made Johnson go from being considered embarrassingly bad to one of the greatest guitarists of all time. When he finally returned to play for Son House, nobody was telling him to stop. He was so good, when he finished, all our mouths were standing open.
Now, there's no way to determine whether or not Robert Johnson actually made this deal with the devil, but it is something to think about. And also, the fact that this music is what actually inspired Ryan Coogler to make the film Sinners is also something that we want to think about. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to change the faith of Christians or force them to stop believing in Christ. And I'm also not saying that this is going to open up a spiritual portal. But honestly, what I really would consider is not allowing confusion to enter into your heart or any type of spiritual uncertainty to enter into your mind after watching this movie. But I do want to show you guys this Bible verse right here. Hopefully this will help you learn and navigate, which movies and shows and things you decide to do in your life. This is the book of Proverbs, and it says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Keep your mouth free from perversity. Keep corrupt talk from your lips. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. Give careful thought to the paths that for your feet, and be steadfast in all your ways. Do not turn to the right or left. Keep your foot from evil. Now, this could mean many different things for many different people, and I believe that it does. But what I'll say that this means for me is that, anything that's going to cause me to have some type of confusion or to believe in something that's just simply not true, those are things that we may want to stay away from. And those things could be different for different people. Now, if you're someone who reads the Bible very often and you're not swayed left to right based off of different theologies, then I would say that, maybe you could watch the movie and nothing, there's probably nothing that's going to happen. But for someone who's new to the faith or someone who is curious about Jesus Christ and you're reading the Bible, these movies may cause some concern for you. If you don't know the word of God, it could cause some type of confusion. But after watching this video, I would love to know your perspective on the movie Sinners and how you feel about it. If you have already watched it, do you plan to watch it? Do you plan not to watch it? Let me know in the comment section, okay? If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and hit the post notification bell so you do not miss another video. My name's Aaron Page. I'll catch y'all on the next video. Until next time, I'm out.